Thank you, Tom. So Tom talked about every species of whale has its own species of parasite,
Right.
lice. And I just thought every human being has their own species of crap. You know, we all carry around, it's called karma, right? We all carry around this crap with us all the time. And we all have our own species of it. You know, everyone's different from everyone else. You know, my crap isn't Julie's crap, isn't Natalie's crap, isn't Tom's crap, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I really like that metaphor of the whales with their lice, you know. And also that it's very natural that every whale, you know, they have lice, it's not a big deal. They just kind of don't let the lice run their life, run their whale lives. And so we don't have to get rid of our karma, we just have to not let us control us. You know, so I got this karma. Oh, I'm really upset. You know, Tom broke his foot. Oh, it really hurts. You know, but he goes back to the retreat anyway. Although you drove an oxy coat. I'm glad I wasn't on the road with you. Yeah, but yeah. So right. So thank you for your talk. Are there any questions? In-house or outhouse? Are there any questions? Yeah. Oh, microphone?
Tom mentioned a try mind.
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, so there's try mind and there's just do it mind. So try mind, so of course these are categories, they're ridiculous. I mean, they're not to be taken seriously, but they help us sort of orient ourselves. So try mind is this, I'm going to get out of bed, I'm going to sit this retreat. I'm going to do this thing. And then just do it mind is actually doing it. So in some sense, you know, getting out of bed early so you can sit the retreat, in some sense, that's already just do it mind. But that mind, when you open your eyes and instead of going back to bed, you say, I'm going to do this thing. Okay, that's try mind. And then just do it mind is you're just doing it. You're not making any stories about it, nothing extra about it. Oh, look how special I am, I'm doing this Zen retreat, you know, nothing like that. Oh, this is so horrible, I don't know how I can stand it. Nothing like that. You're just sitting, you're just bowing, you're just chanting, you're just doing your Kangen interview, you're just eating, you're just sleeping, whatever it is, you're just doing it, nothing extra, nothing special. Okay? So that's just, as I said, it's like anytime we make categories, they're always wrong, but they're also helpful. Okay?
Maybe a quick follow-up.
Sure. Talk louder.
Yeah, so of course it's wrong, but there's a use for it,
Yeah.
for making these categories. Did Master Soong Song say anything about this category or any warnings or why was this category important to differentiate from just do it mind?
No, he never said anything about why this terminology or that terminology. He just said whatever he said. Just do it mind. Okay? Thank you. Yeah, you have to understand also his English was not very good, which was really great because it meant he couldn't get all philosophical on us. If you read transcripts of his talks in Korean, they're much more erudite, they're much more learned, they're much more intellectual. So I think we got the best part of the deal. Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, Natalie. Natalie and then Liz.
This isn't a deep question. I've just been curious about your stick.
Oh, my stick. My stick is made out of cherry wood. So when you become a teacher, in most Zen lineages, all the ones that I know of, you're given some kind of Zen stick. And the Zen stick is, it's sort of in one sense, it's a sign of your great attainment. But it's also useful, like for example, you can go like that to make a point. You know, you can, ah, like that, or you can go like that. Oh, it really has a nice echo in here. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's really nice here. Also, my teacher used to poke us in the stomach. You must become stronger, stronger, stronger. And he'd actually hit you in the stomach, not hard. He'd be very gentle about it, but he'd actually touch you with a stick, you know. And in the old days, like in the Tang and early Sung dynasties, they would actually hit the students like upside the head, you know. And there were all these Zen stories about, you know, a monk comes to some Zen master and says something that the Zen master doesn't like, and what? You know, the Zen master hits him with a stick, or maybe slaps him in the face or something like that. And this is definitely, kids don't try this at home. We don't do this anymore. But 1,000 years ago, yeah, people were doing that. So the stick is kind of a symbol, and it's kind of useful, but we don't use it in all the ways it used to be used. Yeah. And mine, I think it's very pretty. I like my stick a lot. My son made it me, you know, I used to travel a lot. I used to go to Kansas City to give interviews all the time, you know, before times. And so my son made me a really small stick out of a dead bush in our yard. My son is a woodworker, and it's really, really beautiful. It has all these knots and things, and it's really, really small and curved, and it's very nice. Okay? Okay. Liz, you had a question.
Yes, on your encouragement talk,
Yeah.
you talked about keeping the energy and the focus, and so on the rest periods. I was going to say downtime, but I'm not sure it's downtime so much as rest period. You said no knitting, and which I mean I kind of see that, but no reading, no reading Buddhist books, and so I I don't think I've ever been able to achieve that during downtime of keeping that focus and that energy. And sometimes I think I don't knit, but I crochet, and I think I mean the crocheting wouldn't get me that energy either because I would just be off thinking about stuff. But maybe reading a book, a Buddhist book, would would keep that energy. So it's kind of a two-part. uh, why no reading of Buddhist books during the
Any
rest
books?
period, or
Any
any
books?
books, but but then I mean I see not picking up the novel that I'm reading, but but Lin Chi, why not read Lin Chi
Yeah.
during the break,
Okay.
you know? But then the second thing is, I think I understand what you're saying of keeping that energy, but I don't really know if I truly understand that, and I don't know as if I ever do that, of keeping that energy. So
Mhm.
if you could speak a little bit more about that, because I'm thinking about the 5-day retreat, and I'm thinking, well, I said I would do it, but I don't know if I can.
Yeah, it's probably going to be 2 days because
Yeah.
we don't have enough people staying for 5 days.
Okay, well that
Um,
takes it off of that. Okay.
right.
No, but
So,
the
okay,
question is
so to answer both of your questions, what you don't want is purposive behavior. Like, I really love photography. I mean, I'm just learning it. I'm really a beginner, but I love doing it. And I don't bring my camera on a retreat, even though I almost always take a walk. And there's always cool, wherever you are, there's cool things to see, right? I mean, in your bathroom, there are cool things to see. You know, once you learn to see like with a camera eye, then the world is just filled with wonderful photographs. But I don't bring my camera and I don't take photos because even with my, phone, because that's purposive behavior. And then what's happening is I have like a kind of goal. Instead of allowing things to come in, I'm shutting them off so I can achieve my goal. Now, obviously, on work period, when you're cleaning the bathroom or cleaning the dorm room or making lunch or dinner or breakfast or, cleaning up after meals, whatever it is, when you're actually doing some kind of function, yeah, you have to pay attention to that. but we want to minimize that as much as possible so that we can remain open and just open to this universe and allow this universe to come in. So it's, on the one hand, you have a certain kind of focus because you're not being distracted. But on the other hand, your focus is broad. It's not, focused on this cup. It's just this, well, it's don't know mind. It's this open mind, and you're not being distracted. So that's that part. The thing about reading in particular, I know for me and for most people, when you read, you tend to, your thinking mind starts clicking, You're looking for consistencies, you're looking for ideas, you're trying to find a through line of thought. Maybe you are checking, I like this idea, I don't like this idea. Whatever it is, I like the way this person writes, I don't like the way they make their sentences, whatever it is, our thinking mind tends to come in. And that's why, especially on a short retreat, I recommend not reading, even if it's Lynchy, because you're reading Lynchy and say, oh, I really like that one, then already you have a problem. But on a long retreat, like when I do, I don't know if I'll ever do another one because I'm 77, but when I would do long solo retreats, and I don't have a teacher there, and I'm by myself for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 90 days, right? Then it helps to have books because they're like your teacher, so you get, your mind starts moving and, obsessing about something, and then you open Nagarjuna, or you open Lynchy, or you open whatever, and if it's a really good Zen book, and most of them are not, but if it's really, if it's really coming from the, this part of the person writing it, if it's really strong teaching, then you open it, and you just, all the things you're obsessing about go away. It's just like having a teacher. A good teacher, when you're in the interview room, they will help you make what you're obsessing about go away. And especially like Sosan's Mirror of Zen, I don't know how many times I've read that. And if I was on a 3 or 4 or 90-day or whatever retreat, I might read that like 4 or 5, 10 times on that retreat. And you just flip it open almost anywhere. And there's something that just hits you. And it's like you just see, oh my God, the things I was obsessing about, they're worthless. They don't mean anything. I don't have to hold on to them. So reading, if it's something that doesn't hit you here, but hits you here and isn't written from here, but is written from here, or spoken and then written down from there, then that can be very helpful. But on a short retreat, it's not really necessary. And so that's why we recommend not reading on a short retreat. Now, nobody's going to stop you, especially you're home, right? Nobody's saying, oh my God, my telepathic mind realizes that Liz just grabbed Lynchy and she's reading it. We won't know. But you're responsible, Here the books are like in the main room. So if you snag a book, someone will see you do it. In a lot of Zen centers, it's not. You can quietly go off and snag a book and no one will see you. You can quietly bring a book and no one will see you. But that's why. It's to sort of get your frontal lobes to kind of quiet down, not to shut down, but quiet down, quiet down, quiet down, so this universe can really come in. I've been pretty strict on this retreat with myself. A lot of times I'm like, oh, I'm the teacher, and I do have to do things like check, the Zen Center email in case somebody who's on Zoom was in trouble, they would have to let us know and stuff like that. But I've been really pretty good about it on this retreat, and I've really been appreciating it. It's, it's just the privilege of putting down all those distractions, putting down all this crud that just pulls our mind one way and pulls our mind another way, and just the great relief it is to just walk outside and see the sky, whether it's blue or gray or, you know, it's nighttime, whatever it is, just walk outside and see the sky. And it's just the sky. And our thoughts are not whirling around. We see the sky, just like Buddha saw a star. That's what he did. He saw a star, that's all. But he saw that star. He and the star were not separate in that moment. It was actually a planet, but you know. So that just letting it in, just letting it in. I don't know, some of you have heard the story, my story of the demon, who, there was a demon once. I was sitting a 3-week retreat, and this demon possessed me. That's the only way I can describe it. I just knew that a demon possessed me. I don't believe in demons, but this demon. And it was just a sense. I mean, there was no like, I didn't see like a demon or anything. I just had a sense that this demon was inside me. It was really terrifying. It was, I mean, you can imagine, it was really scary. And, but I kept to the schedule. That's the most important thing about a retreat. You keep to the schedule, you know? Even if you oversleep, even if you fall on the stairs, even if you're shaving, whatever it is, you stick to the schedule as best you can. You just stick to the schedule. And so I stuck to the schedule, and with this demon inside me, so I guess the demon was sticking to the schedule too. And it was the feeling of this demon was looking out through my eyes. That was the feeling, like this, there was this demon looking out through my eyes. And again, there was nothing physical. It was just a sense of this demon inside me, this like spirit demon looking out through my eyes. And so I'm walking on the little porch of my little meditation cabin, because they almost always come with little porches. And I'm walking and I go like this, and the trees look a certain way and they go like this, and now I'm looking at them at another angle and I go, you know, and I'm walking around the little porch. And suddenly I realized that I do not look out through my eyes. The world comes in through my eyes. We don't look here, we don't sort of, our ears don't look out, whatever the verb would be. Things come in, sound comes in, smells come in our nose, taste comes into our tongue. Something touches us and we're aware of it. And then the demon vanished. How could there be a demon? How could anything be looking out through my eyes? Even I'm not looking out through my eyes. The world is coming in. So that receptiveness, that allowing the world to come in, that's a great gift of a retreat. And if you're reading or knitting or crocheting or taking photographs or playing the guitar or whatever it is, then things are not coming in. It's a narrow view. So does that answer your question? Yeah, thank you. Are there any other questions? Yeah. Okay.
Would you say that you do this practice still after all these years because of Zen Master Seung San or something else?
Well, that's an interesting question, because Zen Master Seung San's been dead for quite a while. Yeah. So when I started this practice, when I walked into Cambridge Zen Center, and he wasn't there, he was in Providence Zen Center, which was his main base. And I practiced for a month before I met him. And I was drawn to the practice. I was drawn to the practice like, you know, a moth is to a light bulb. I mean, it was like when I walked in and, you know, I walked into the kitchen. I'm forgetting his name, somebody who's a famous Vipassana teacher now, and somebody else. Pardon? What? No, Vipassana teacher. These two people were, you know, finishing cleaning up after dinner. And I walk into the kitchen and one of them says, well, what's your practice? And I said, I count my breaths. And he said, and the other one turned around and said, how many breaths have you counted? And I just thought, I'm home. I'm just home. And then I walk into the Dharma room, you know, they show me how to bow and stuff. I mean, I walked in at the last minute. You know, we tell people come a half hour ahead of time, I just walked in. And, you know, so they showed me what to do. And I sat down and somebody hit the bell. Peter Harrington was his name who hit the bell. He hit the bell and I just thought, you know, it was a big bell like we have here. And I just thought, I'm home. I'm just home. So I was home. Even if Zen Master Sung San had never appeared, I would have been home. But when I met him, then I became glued to my home. You know, it was just like I had the sense that there was so much to learn, not in the academic sense. There was so much to be shown. There was so much to develop. You know, the words aren't quite right because they all sound like goals and there are no goals. But it's just like the sense that there was this depth to the practice that I had not contemplated, I had not imagined that there was this depth to the practice. And so I've been doing it ever since, you know. So you could say that his charisma sort of kept me going, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it would have kept going anyway. But yeah. Yeah, if you do a practice because of a charismatic teacher and that's all, and the sense is that if this teacher disappeared, then you wouldn't be doing the practice, then it's not the right practice for you. So, you know, charisma is a very dangerous thing because then you attract people, they're attracted to the charisma and they're not attracted to the actual substance. So hopefully I have no charisma. Okay. But yeah, the substance of this practice is something that I really treasure. And, you know, I have a lot of friends, Zen teachers in other traditions, and I really respect them. I would never put down some kind of practice. I would never say, oh, Vipassana, that's no good, or oh, Japanese style, you know, I never say that because I have friends who are teachers in these other traditions, and I respect them tremendously. But every tradition is different. And it's like trying on clothes, and some clothes fit and some clothes don't fit. And clothes that fit me are not going to fit Tom, clearly. So, you know, when you find the right fit in your practice, that it's a practice that, you know, you're home. You just feel that you're home. That's a really precious and wonderful thing. So, thank you for your question. Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, excuse me. So you were talking about making space for the world to come in.
Yeah.
Would you encourage as a practice when traveling on public transport to never look at your handphone?
To never what?
To never look at your handphone and engage with your mobile devices, but instead to 100% experience the world. Because I think when I travel on the train in Singapore, I would say that 99% of the adults are glued to a phone.
Yeah.
And it's something I try not to do, even more when I'm walking on the street. You know, you see people walking on the street with their handphones.
Yeah, that's a problem. Right. Yeah, you walk right into a light post or something. Yeah, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do. I mean, I get on my phone sometimes when I'm waiting in a supermarket to check out. And I got to check my email. You know, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do. But it's not making room for the world to come in, it's allowing the world to come in, which is different. It's not like you have to move things around so that there's room. It's just you have to open and allow it. And everyone has to decide what they're going to do. And, you know, these devices we have, they're very cleverly, the programming is very cleverly designed to hook us. I mean, it's very consciously designed to keep us on these devices, and how much we can keep our minds free of those hooks. You know, you come into to answer Kungan, and the teacher says, well, you just, grab the hook, right? Well, we grab that hook all the time because our devices, Facebook, everything, even email, they're all designed to hook us to them. And the question is, how free can we be? And everyone has a different answer. Everyone's different, the way they answer it. But yeah, as much as possible to let the world come in instead of shutting it out. It's like we put blinders on. Horses, when they're race horses, and they put these blinders on so they won't be distracted by the horses on either side. That's what we do all the time. We have these blinders on. Even these identities, I am a woman. I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Jew. I'm an American. I used to be a mathematician. This kind of thing. These are blinders that we put on. We just hold these blinders. We really keep them on all the time. And to let go of them. Just let go of them. Not constrict ourselves. Okay? Does that answer? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I want to say there's another thing that people get into where they think that, when they're like on public transport or, whatever, that they have to keep some kind of spiritual state, the sort of thing, I'm practicing Zen, so I must have this Zen state all the time, and that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. What's that book, The Empty Mirror, I think it's called? The Dutch guy who, he was a very early European student of Zen Buddhism. He went to Japan and he studied with a Soto teacher, I guess was Soto. And he talks about, he's been meditating, and so, he's in the, what is Schiphol Airport, in Amsterdam, waiting to get on the plane, and there were all these, people who are like, upset, and, kids running around, and, people talking loudly, but he is going to sit in Zazen. Don't do that. When you're in an airport, be in an airport. When you're in a bus, be on a bus. Don't let your practice come between you and what's around you. That's really important too. That's sort of the flip side of Eilen's question. So thank you. Are there any other questions?
So I just wanted to
grab the microphone.
make a comment about this.
Start again.
So Liz, I just wanted to commenting on you about reading, but if you go to Kyoche, then there are a lot of teaching books around that you encourage to read those books. Like if you're there for a month or 3 months, maybe you could have a little bit of time to actually like flip it through. But my whole experience, I never knew why there are so many books in both buildings that we live. That because there is really not a single moment you have time to actually to read it, right?
Okay, so your question is about
Right.
So these long retreats
Right.
that are done in Providence Zen Center, and they're teachers. So you're not a solo retreat. There are other people sitting the retreat. There are teachers there, and Ting's pointing out that they have books there, and they tell you read those books. They tell you read those books so you won't read other books. It's like, if you're going to read a book, these are the books to read. But it's not read those books. It's like, if you're going to read this. Okay? That's what that's about. Yeah. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I felt
Microphone.
when can you actually find time at all to read anything? It's very interesting that
Well, some people find the time and some people don't.
all these books.
You always work very hard. You're always working in the kitchen.
Right,
and
and
stuff like that.
they always look at me, so it's Kongai interview day, everybody's on the deck having their notebook and those books, and I'm running around with a mop or with food, I just, and running up and down.
Yeah, so different styles.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Different styles. Some people, they only work during work period, and then they're either going to sleep, or they're going to take a walk, or they're going to read. Okay, they have terrible Wi-Fi up there. They don't have Wi-Fi up there. So it's really hard. You have to be on cellular, and the cellular isn't very good. I mean, that's deliberate. You know? So yeah, right. Yeah, when I would sit with Shoda Harada, and you know, I would call Stanley every night before supper so that he knew I was okay. And so this is Whidbey Island. It's a wonderful Rinzai retreat center in Whidbey Island. The main teacher is really wonderful Zen Master Shoda Harada. And I have to walk like, you know, a half a mile to get a signal and to call Stan. That's deliberate. It's very deliberate. Okay? So thank you. Yeah. Yeah, there's some places where they confiscate your phones. You know, you walk in and you have to drop your phone, you know, in some kind of like basket or something, and they put it in a closet, but maybe you have another phone on you. You know? Anyway, that's how that goes. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
So you said not to do like practice when you're out in the world. So how do you stay like clear then? Like you were talking about just seeing the sky. I feel like maybe I'd have that for a second and then, you know, I'd get in my car and start thinking about what I'm gonna do when I get home, stuff like that.
Yeah, so what am I going to do when I get home? You wait till tomorrow. After breakfast, you'll be thinking, oh boy, when I get home, right? So yeah, so what I mean is the idea of formal practice. A lot of people, if they have mantras, they will go back to their mantra, you know. Some people, when they're driving, they will say their mantra out loud. That's okay. That's okay. That's not my particular style. But, you know, your thing of, you know, you have an instant of seeing the sky. So that's an instant of waking up. I remember when I started practice, and I'd be sitting a retreat, and suddenly I'd have this instant of like seeing a tree. Oh my God, I saw this tree, you know, and maybe I'd write a little poem and give it to Zen Master Sung, something like this. This is my enlightenment poem. I'd be thinking seriously, you know, secretly I'd be thinking, oh, and I'd expect him to say, oh, very, you know, but no, he'd just look at it, put it down, you know. So these moments are not special, but we're so not used to them. You know, I remember once after a retreat, you know, in my kitchen, and there was this fly on the countertop. And if you've ever looked at a fly, they are amazing. They have these iridescent wings, and they have all these colors, and you know, they have these amazing eyes, these multi-part, I don't know, 1,000 parts to their eyes. You know, they're amazing. You know, these little delicate legs and with little delicate hairs on them. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. And I saw this fly, and I was like, oh, I must be enlightened. What that is like for half a second, you know, all these lice that we carry around, you know, the Judy lice and the Tom lice and the Natalie lice, you know, all our personal lice fall off for like a second. Just, they're gone, you know, for a second, then they come back. But, you know, and then as you practice, this becomes more and more ordinary. It's not special. You realize this is my birthright. This is my birthright, to be able to allow the world to come in. That's my birthright. And so it becomes sort of ordinary. It's not special at all. But our practice creates the, I don't want to say space, because then it sounds like we're making room again, but our practice creates the ability, or stops the inability. I don't know what the word is, but our practice, these gates that we have between us and this universe, it's like we're always looking through a screen door, and suddenly that screen door opens, you know, the screen drops away. So that's your birthright. And as you practice, this happens more and more. It's not ever all the time. I think even Buddha, you know, got pissed off and stuff like that. But it happens more and more and more. And you begin to realize, you begin to settle into it and realize that this is your natural state. All this other stuff, all the, you know, freaking out that we do and thinking we're wonderful or whatever it is, all that stuff is not your true self. It's not your natural state. There's this natural state that underlies all of that. And so that's what it is, it's just seeing it. But, you know, if you try to make it happen, I am going to see the sky and it will be blue, are you blue? You know, that's not going to work. You just practice, and then gradually, you know, or maybe suddenly, whatever it is, it comes. Okay? Thank you. That was a really good question. I really like that. Okay. Actually, they were all really good questions today. Are there any other questions? Okay.